Hello my friend, are you ready for NFL picks? Round 15 with a special guest and the best picks today. Before we start, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to this channel that you don't miss any of my picks. Thanks for your support, buddy. Yeah, we're doing NFL football with my friend, brother and now colleague, Phil Vegas. Nice to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, Radek, the pleasure is all mine. Happy to be here, happy to be part of your show. Yeah, looking forward to today, and yeah, let's see what picks we're gonna have in our pockets today.
Yeah, you are following the NFL for years now. That's why we were talking about it and we made some paper tips, and you were awesome, and you had 8 out of 10 2 times in a row. So I said, come on, let's make an NFL show, because this channel is in English and my English is bad. So you are very helpful and an improvement for this channel, and I'm really looking forward and I'm also getting more into NFL, because it's not my favorite sport, but I'm pretty sure that I will love it sooner or later.
Yeah, it should be. I can highly recommend it, and yeah, also thank you for your nice introduction. I hope that I'm gonna be good here for the show. Like, the pressure is on now after these 2 weeks with 8 correct tips out of 10. But yeah, let's see, and I hope that I'll bring you the love of football very soon, because the sport is very, very, very great.
Yeah, no worry. We first have a look at the games, and you tell us what you know about it, and then we have a look at the odds, and I will give my sports betting expertise, because it's a difference to just tip winners or to just bet profitable, and that's why I think our combination of expertise in American football and expertise in sports betting can be really attractive, and at the end it's also very fun to have this talk together. And so if you like it, and we should do more NFL picks, and then subscribe to this channel, and then yeah, we will do this more often. And so great and perfect start for both of us. As you might see, our pre-names is Vegas, and this has a reason, because we've been to Vegas several times together, and so yeah, this is our town, and we start with a Vegas game, the Raiders versus the Chargers. Who do you think is the winner here?
Yeah, that's a very tough match, and very important also match for both of the teams. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Chargers, both teams had high hopes at the beginning of the season, and they couldn't fulfill it throughout the season. Especially the Chargers they have a roster that has been very high valued, and they couldn't really fulfill it. And the bad news for all the Chargers fans is that they lost their starting quarterback and the star of the team, Justin Herbert, last week due to a finger injury, which means he will be out for the rest of the season, and also out for the game against the Las Vegas Raiders, which is going to hurt them quite badly, I think, and I assume. The Las Vegas Raiders, actually, they lost 3 games in a row. Also, they are also playing with their backup quarterback for quite a while now already. But he is, at least used to the situation already. But Easton Stick, he is the backup quarterback of the LA Chargers. It's his very first start for the Chargers, and the pressure is on for him. He's got nothing to lose, but he has no track record at all. And I think, the season for the Chargers has been really not successful though so far. They also lost, for example, Joey Bosa in the defense, and now lost their starting quarterback. And I think this, will end up in a loss against the Las Vegas Raiders, to sum it up. The Raiders will win it. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a low-scoring game, I assume. But I think the Raiders at home in the Allegiant Stadium will go for the win here.
Yeah, and great start. And the odds are minus 149. You have to bring $149 to win $100. We will analyze this if it makes sense at the end, but as you sum it up, we can go with the Raiders here, which is also great for us as we are from Vegas. So we can see it's really a coin flip. out of 234 people were in this poll, and it's a 50-50 after so many votes. That's really awesome. I've never seen that, but if we have a 50-50 chance and we have the riders at home, so yeah, maybe it's worth a bet, but because 100 euro to win with 149, it's not the worst thing here. The second game we have on this game day is between the Bengals and the Vikings. And I don't know, last game day or the pre-last game day, we both were talking, and we ended up with a consensus bet. You said that the Bengals might win, and I analyzed the odds and the stats, and I said, yeah, Bengals for sure it is, and they won the game. So, but now against the Vikings, they are also favorite, and yeah, they should also win here. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is going to be a win for the Bengals. Also, in this matchup, we see two backup quarterbacks playing, with the difference that for the Bengals, there's playing Jake Browning. I think it's his third appearance after the starting quarterback, Joe Burrow, got injured, and he played two awesome matches. Like the first one really was way beyond the expectations, a great match, and he was able to confirm that last week. Also another great match, another great win for the Bengals. And yeah, now with their record, they are still able to make the playoffs, and they are playing at home. So I think the Bengals will have the win here, because the Vikings also are struggling with their quarterbacks. They lost their starting quarterbacks for some weeks now. They started Josh Dobbs, which they drafted, or like they acquired, so to say, after, and they haven't been very happy with his performance also. So now they are starting their, I think, fourth quarterback throughout the season. And the Vikings last week only had a 3-0 win against the Las Vegas Raiders. We also talked about them just recently. But 3-0, really the offense is struggling very much. And I think Jake Browning will have another great appearance and will beat the Vikings at home.
Yes, and I'm not really into American football, but I'm good into European football, and I was surprised that a 3-0 in American football, this is very rare. It happens last time, I think 16 years ago, and it was only, do you know when there was a 0-0 at American football last time?
I think a 0-0 didn't happen in the modern era of football, but it was like sometime in the 60 years ago or something like this.
Yeah, I think it was during the World Wars, 1942 or 1945 around.
And it was really close to be a 0-0 again.
Yeah.
Because I think the field goal for the 3-0 was 2 minutes before the end of the game. So it was so close to be a 0-0. Really embarrassing. Like good for the defenses, like great job of the defenses maybe. But I think rather the offenses were struggling in that match.
Yeah, so in this game we will see more points, you think, and it will be a Bengals.
At least for the Bengals, yeah.
Then we have the same opinion as 68% of the people have, and so yeah, the odds are not brilliant. You have to bet almost $180 to win $100, and that's not a fair value. The risk is too much, because as you've seen in the standings, they both won 7 games, but in the AFC it's way closer than in the other league, and so yeah, for sure. I also was calculating all games in the season so far, how many favorite victories we had so far in the season. It were 63% of the time. So mostly the odds favorites win the games for sure. And in American football, this is a special thing, because in European soccer, for example, we have only about 40 to 50% of the games when the favorites really win the games, because in European football you also have a draw. But now back to the American one, and the next game between the Colts and the Steelers.
Yeah, let's have a look at this one. This is the second match that is played on a Saturday, which is quite special. I think it's the first Saturday games this season. The reason behind it is just as a fun fact or a side fact, is that the college season ended and the NFL doesn't play on college game days. And since there are no college game days on a Saturday anymore, there are two matches on a Saturday. Vikings Bengals, we just talked about, is a Saturday match, and the other match on Saturday is Steelers at Colts. And I think another fun fact is that it's the third match with, again, two backup quarterbacks facing each other. So as of now, we only talked about teams having backup quarterbacks. Really bad that so many starting quarterbacks got injured this season. But here we are seeing the Colts at home with their backup quarterback Gardner Minshew, and they're facing the Steelers with their backup quarterback Mitch Trubisky. And the Steelers are really struggling with their offense this season. They fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had a good bounce back after they fired him. Like, they had one 400-yard game and a win. But last week also they lost again, and they are really struggling with their offense. And I think this is going to be, they're going to continue to struggle with their offense. And the Colts are, quite solid team this year, to be honest. And like also the last couple of weeks, they are playing quite well, and so I think the Colts are going to be the team to bet on in this matchup, and I see a Colts win at home on Saturday.
Yeah, and this is also close and a very, very interesting one in the standings, because they're both with the same points and the same win ratios. And also here we see an advantage in the poll for the Colts with 64%. The odds are the best so far for a favorite, with you have to bet 140 to win $100. We can keep this in mind for the end of the video when we sum up the best bets. And we will continue to go to the Lions versus the Denver Broncos.
That's going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be, I have to admit, a tough one to predict. We see two very different teams at the moment. We see the Broncos, they had a horrible start into the season, and they are now very, very successful. I think they won 5 out of the last 6 matches, and they really had some good performances in the last couple of weeks, especially the defense, which is kind of carrying the team. Opposing, we see the Detroit Lions. They had a great start into the season, like better than everyone expected, I assume. But they are struggling now for the last couple of weekends, and so they are moving into different directions. So the Lions are more in a downswing, and the Denver Broncos are one of the hardest teams at the moment. Lions are at home, so this gives them a bit of an advantage. But I still think, after the Lions struggled so hard last week, they lost against the Bears. They barely had a chance. And the Broncos are really have a good defense. They have also solid offense. And I do see the Broncos here as the favorite. They are the away team, but they are the way hotter team at the moment. And the Lions, I think they're still going to make the playoffs. They are in their division leading by 2 games against the Vikings. And Vikings, as I just said, are also struggling. So I think they are in a quite comfortable situation. They have not too much pressure to win this game. They still going to be in the playoffs if they lose. And the Broncos are really on an upswing at the moment. So the Broncos going to win here.
Very interesting, as this is really a big underdog here, the Broncos. You got 180 if you bet $100, and most of the people go with the lower or the favorite odds with the Detroit Lions. And I have stories for both of the teams. Did you watch the Netflix docu about Barry Sanders? He was a Detroit Lion, huh?
I have to admit, I haven't watched the series, so
you've been to some beautiful islands the last 2 months.
Curious to hear more, though.
Yeah, but you have to watch it, because it's an awesome documentation about the best running back or wide receiver. I really am not firm to this position.
We'll be on my list soon.
And on the other hand, I'm a huge South Park fan, so I grew up with the Denver Broncos because this was the team of the boys in South Park. So let's hope the South Park team can make a surprise in odds,
Fingers
but
crossed.
for you it's not a surprise.
Or it's going to be a bounce back for the Lions, but I still see the Broncos as the favorite team.
Yeah, but that's the way you make money in betting, finding good odds on good teams. That's pretty simple, but not that simple as most think that it's making bets on favorites, but the other way around we can do it. So I like the Bronco one also. And the next one between the Panthers and the Falcons should also be a clear thing if you consider that the Panthers almost lost every game in this season. Are they the worst team in this NFL season?
They are. They had the number 1 pick last year. They picked Bryce Young as their starting quarterback, and they're really struggling to use Bryce Young in the way they intended to. So they're struggling with their offensive line. They are struggling with their offensive plays. And yeah, they have only 1 win, 12 losses, by far, in my opinion, and also on paper, the worst team this season. I think they are for sure out of the players, and I think they also are with their minds already in next year. Still, every player gives his best every week, but I still can't see the Panthers win here. They are at home, but for the Falcons, it's going to be a very important one. In their division, they are really, really close with the other teams, especially the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but also the New Orleans Saints, and they have to defend their first place in the division. It's going to be an important win for the Falcons here. So they do have a little bit of pressure, but I still see the Panthers as a too weak team to lose against. So I see a Falcons win in this game.
Yeah, and surprisingly, the odds are not really that low on the Falcons, as we have to bet 160 to win 100. Of course, not the best bets, but against a team with a record of 1 win out of 13 games, it's kind of a no-brainer here to bet on them with any money. But even the worst teams might surprise from time to time, and if the odds are too low, it's too dangerous to risk money. But in this situation, it might be to justify at the end to place money on it. The Browns hosting the Bears also seems like a difference between the both teams, as the Browns are number 5 in the standings and the Bears only on position 13. But they also were able to win the last 2 games.
Yeah, correct. And also the Browns, they started quite solid into the season, especially they had amazing defense performances in the first weeks of the season, and the Bears were really struggling in the very beginning. And the Bears are now a bit of in an upswing. They won against the Detroit Lions last week, and the Browns also won last week against the Jaguars, also a quite good and quite a good team. I see both teams with a positive trend at the moment. Still, again, here the same story with the starting quarterback for the Browns. They are playing with their backup quarterback, and they acquired Joe Flacco, so a veteran quarterback. He won the Super Bowl 10 years ago.
I've read this, yes.
We've seen that Super Bowl in Las Vegas back then. With when Joe Flacco won it with the Ravens, and he's now back after all this time with the Browns to help them out in their quarterback situation. He had a great game last week against the Jaguars, and the Browns also the Bears also won. But I think the Browns are at home. Joe Flacco is on fire, and they still have a great defense, which gonna hopefully contain Justin Fields, the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and I see the Browns win this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the beauty of American football. There are so many Cinderella stories. There
Absolutely
would be another movie about it if he continues to bring some positive vibes to the Browns. And that is in almost no other sports like football. And even for me, I don't play American football. I don't watch it a lot, but I watch almost every movie about it. If it's the Colin Kaepernick documentation, if it's who's the guy who shot a lot of people, Hernandez, and O.J. Simpson. There are a lot of interesting stories about American football for sure. And for this game, we also have to bet a lot of money to win only $100 in a game where the Bears are on a kind of an upswing. For me personally, it might be a bit too dangerous, but the most people think the Browns should win this game, as you said, with 71% for it. So I understand to pick them as a winner, but if you have to risk money and risk to lose money, then I would say maybe it's not worth it, as you don't win too much here in this game. And it's also very interesting to watch without betting on it, so as you do. And the Packers versus the Buccaneers, they both have the same record, 6 winnings, 7 losses for both. Who the hell should be the better team here?
I think to make it short, it's going to be the Packers. The Packers are really on an upswing as well in the last couple of weeks, except last Monday when they lost against the New York Giants. So this was an unexpected loss for the Packers, but I think they're going to bounce back this week at home at Lambeau Field. It's going to be probably cold weather there. Buccaneers are traveling from warm Florida, which gives them probably some kind of discomfort, and Packers are used to playing in that kind of conditions. And the Packers are hungry. The Packers are eager to make the playoffs. Also, like the Buccaneers are still in the playoff race, and also very, very important match for both of them. And also the Buccaneers are eager to win for sure. But at home, the Packers, I think, are the favorite, and I'm going with the Packers win.
Mm-hmm. Interesting fact with the weather. Do you think this appears or this affects a lot of teams, because it's really a difference between Florida and to go to a cold state?
Yeah, I don't know hard facts about this, but it does make a difference. Also, like traveling per se, like if you're going from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, like you have a time difference. Like imagine playing at 1 p.m. Eastern time when you're coming from the Western time zone. It's 10 in the morning. Like it's a whole different schedule for them. They have been traveling 5 hours per plane, and in this situation, the temperature difference is very high. And also the Packers are known for their home advantage at Lambeau Field. I checked the weather. There is no snowfall, but I think it's going to be only a few degrees centigrade in the plus region. So it's going to be cold conditions. And Packers are used to that. Buccaneers, not that much. And I think, like conditions like this also, Buffalo Bills are a good example. Also, a lot of snowy games there. And like when people are coming, like teams that are coming from the West Coast, for example, the Los Angeles region and also the Florida region, it's always tough for them to play in that kind of condition.
Yeah, and I mentioned this because I know this from other sports like basketball, where it's more extreme because they're playing all 2 or 3 days, and ice hockey also. And there was a guy, I think he was called Maha, a professor of some university, and he developed a strategy in sports betting only based on distances between the teams which they have to travel. And there is for sure this as a reason that the Packers might win their home game. The other thing is obviously that home teams are mostly favored with about 20 or 25% on average, on addition to their strength in front of their home audience. Some teams are better in front of their audience, but in average there's for sure always a home advantage. And the third thing is, I know a professional German sports bettor who made a lot of money betting for the biggest sports betting companies in the world. And he also said he had some strategies where he looks on the weather. And so, yeah, a lot of good points here. And that's why I think it's worth to mention it. And at the end, we have a dilemma, as the odds on the Packers are really bad. We have to bring $170 to win 100. Also, a big risk, no matter how cold the weather will be and how warm the Buccaneers love to shower. And, and that's why, for sure, interesting pick and interesting game, but not in terms of the odds. And next one, also a Florida team, but they are playing at home against the New York Jets. So we have vice versa situation here. And no matter what, the Dolphins are a huge favorite because why?
Yeah, I can confirm. Like Dolphins are one of the best teams this season. Have a great offense. Have Tyreek Hill at their receiver, their star receiver. He's aiming for a 2,000 plus receiving yards season, which would be record breaking. And Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback, who's also had some solid performances. And yeah, the New York Jets are struggling since day or minute one, so to say, on this season when they lost Aaron Rodgers. And they started Zach Wilson for a couple of weeks, then they changed Zach Wilson, like they benched him again, and now he started again last week. So the New York Jets did have a bounce back last week and had a great match and a great performance also from their quarterback Zach Wilson. But still, they are pretty much out of the playoff race, and the Dolphins, are like aiming for the top spot in the AFC. So they are eager to win here for sure, and they are playing at home in the Hard Rock Stadium. Where also, fun fact, the guest bench, where the players of the New York Jets in that situation will sit, are like in the sun the whole game, whereas the Dolphins are always in the shadow. So this is kind of a trick of the stadium builders.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah, it is indeed. So they are gonna be sweating in Miami, Florida, and I think the Dolphins will win this one.
Okay, better than freezing their asses off, but still with 5 winnings, they with some luck, they even could make it to the playoffs. But only 4 rounds to go, so it's getting
so if they lose here, I think they're going to be out of the playoff race. If they win here, like they still might have some slight or slim chances, but I still see the Jets losing here.
Yeah, and the worst odds we've seen so far in this game day, we have to bring €400 to win 100 or dollar or pound or whatever you bet in your currency, and 86% of the people think that Dolphins are winning. We have a lot of good reasons for that, but do you want to put $400 on something and only get 100 back? And I always say it's not a fair bet, because you want the same money as you bet back at least, and then you can call it a fair bet. And no matter how good the favorite is here, unfortunately, a lot of people will bet on the Dolphins, and if the Jets surprise, a lot of people will lose money, but it's not very likely in this situation. So the Patriots versus the Chiefs, another clear situation. But speaking of clear situations, we have to admit that there was a round or match day last week or 2 weeks ago where a lot of underdogs were winning, and so this happens from time to time, and you can see it in the standings that a lot of teams are on the same level if it comes to their record. But in this situation, we have a really bad team with the Patriots.
Yeah, we do indeed, and it's going to be a 1,000% win for the Chiefs here.
Oh.
The Chiefs are by far the favorite. The Patriots have a horrible season. They are hardly scoring any points. The Chiefs They lost a very close and a very controversial match referee-wise last week against the Buffalo Bills. So they are very hungry. They are similar to FC Bayern Munich in football or in soccer here in Germany. When FC Bayern loses a match, next week they're gonna bounce back with full force, and I think this is gonna happen here with the Chiefs and the Patriots. Won't have a slight chance. This is gonna be a win for the Chiefs. 1,000%.
I was so shocked because you said 1,000% that I clicked on Patriots as a winner, but 17% think that they might win, and 83%, not 1,000%, think that the Chiefs might win this game, but still good
the
enough.
Patriots, they do have a solid defense, at least, that is true, but the Chiefs still, they have a struggle with their in general with their receiving skills this season, but still it's not gonna be enough, and also the Patriots offense is more or less the worst.
And obviously they have a strong fan base, as 17% still.
Yeah, they have a strong fan base, especially here in Germany or also worldwide. Because they have been quite successful for almost 2 decades now, especially with Tom Brady. So they are, at least the name New England Patriots is very, very famous. But not this year, at least performance-wise.
Okay, let's go on. We still have some games to go, but
we're
coming to an end. The Saints versus the Giants, number 11 versus number 12 in the standings. Also a close game and interesting one, but why are the Saints considered to be that much better?
Well, actually they do have the better roster and the better performance this year. The New York Giants also, horrible season, especially the offense. They also lost, it repeats all the time today. They also lost their starting quarterback, and here is another Cinderella story. They are now playing with their quarterback Tommy DeVito, who has Italian roots, and he's still living with his parents. So a very down-to-earth guy. He had some
How old is he?
performances. 40? No, he's quite young. He's 20-something.
Yeah, then it's not a shame to live with your parents. But
I understood 14. No. But he's 20, but still living with his parents, obviously. Kind of a Cinderella story because they beat the Packers last week, surprisingly. Also good performance. Not a super special performance for Tommy DeVito, but a good performance, I would say. But still, I think it's not going to be enough. The Saints, they are still in the race for the division title, because this division is quite poor. I think only losing records here behind the Buccaneers and the Falcons, so they still have some chances to win. And I think at home they're gonna beat the New York Giants.
Okay, we can lock this in. Okay, we log in a win for the home team again, the Saints, and you get or you have to bet 270 to win 100. Also not the best odds, but if you have some really good bets, if you say this is 1,000% sure, you might combine 2 really good winners. As I said before, in the NFL we have a huge favorite culture where the favorites tend to win more clearly than in other sports maybe, and on this game they especially if they have the goal to achieve something like the Saints and get the division title or something like that. And next one, Titans at home in Nashville against the Texans. So almost a game between 2 teams which who are not that much far away from each other.
Yeah, correct. But the Texans are playing the way better season so far. They are really playing beyond expectations. Have a great quarterback, their rookie quarterback, 2nd overall pick, CJ Stroud. Also, in the MVP race, and he had some mini 300 plus yard game. And Texans are one of the big surprises this season. However, last week CJ Stroud was in the concussion protocol. It's still unclear if he will start against the Titans. I expect at this moment, it's Wednesday, that he won't start. And also his favorite receiver Tank Dell is out for the season. They have they will be limited by this. And on the other hand, Tennessee Titans, they are playing with their quarterback Will Levis for some weeks now already. And he's showing some solid performances, especially last week. They beat the Miami Dolphins, very surprisingly. They were behind 14 points only 2 or 3 minutes before the end of the game, and they were able to win it with some good throws by Will Levis. And I think the Titans at home, this will give them a bit of a boost, whereas the Texans are now struggling in their offense. And so, on paper, I would say the Texans would be the favorite here. If you 1 week ago, I would say this is will be a Texans win, but after last weekend, with everything that happens, now the Titans are my favorite, and I think the Titans will win this one.
149 to win 100, one of the better bets on favorites. But here you can see it's not a representative poll here, because we only have around 200 votes so far. But still, we have a little majority for the Texans. So might be also interesting, but also 1.5 in European odds, or the 150 you have to bet to win 100 in American odds. Maybe worth it on the Titans here. And also they have to come up from some losings, and maybe they have also the chance to go to the playoffs if they can win this important game for them. So the motivation should be there. And in a situation like that, if you have to bet 1,000 to win 100, I think that is kind of a mistake, but also I think it represents the strength here.
Yeah, absolutely. The San Francisco 49ers is the team to beat at the moment. They have the best performance in the offense, in the defense. Both are playing really well in the last couple of weeks. For sure, the 49ers are the big favorite here. Still, the Cardinals were able to, had some surprising good performances throughout the season. They have the ability to upset maybe one or the other team, and it could happen here as well. So, for example, I don't see the 49ers win as certain as, for example, a Chiefs win, but still, by far, they are the favorites, and I can't say any other than the 49ers will win, but still kind of a gut feeling that maybe the Cardinals will, at least maybe in the first half, will be able to play on eye level and maybe to surprise one or the other, but still 49ers pretty.
Maybe it's a possible bet on the spread, so that the Cardinals might not lose with that big difference. I also calculated the average spread for favorites in the NFL in this season, and it's around 12. So if a favorite wins, then the spread is 12 or less. So if you get for sure really good odds on Cardinals plus 20 even to get even money and win as much as you bet, then maybe this is an interesting one, because for sure it's not an option to bet on the 49ers here. But we also would hope that maybe a better team would get the same odds than the Cardinals. Then it would be more interesting in this situation.
But maybe you can a small amount. You can give it a shot. They are also coming out of the bye week. They won against the Steelers the week before. So the Cardinals they are able
Okay, we are going with the Cardinals here. Let's see how many others have this opinion at this stage about 4 or 5 days in front of the game. And yeah, you see
30%.
42 people are also hoping for the big money and the bigger odds than backing up the best team. Maybe it's also a lack of motivation for the 49ers to go to the Cardinals and play football there, and so I think they can imagine better things on a Sunday like this. And then next one, the Rams versus the Commanders, and to be honest, I didn't know where the Commanders are home based, but of course I knew the Redskins. I even had a Redskins sweater and a Redskins cap in the 90s when it was not frowned upon to say Redskins. And now they are the Commanders, but did anything improve it or even worsen it?
Yeah, it rather worsened, I'd say, but at least it didn't improve. Ron Rivera, the head coach, is still struggling to bring success to Washington. I think he's going to be fired also after that season, and maybe his offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy will take over. He was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs for quite a while, and I think he deserves a head coach spot. So maybe we'll see him head coaching the Commanders next year with hopefully more success. So as I just said, the Commanders don't have a very successful season. They have their starting quarterback Sam Howell, a rookie quarterback from last year. He has been drafted last year. He showed solid performances, at least yards wise. So I think he's still like in the top 3 or top 5 in yards thrown. But still, the whole Commanders team is not able to perform very well this season. Also, they lost 2 of their defense stars. They traded them to other teams for draft capital for the next years, which also is a sign of they have given up this season. They don't have any only very, very slight playoff chances anymore. Whereas the Rams are playing surprisingly well this season, especially with their surprise wide receiver Puka Nacua, and also Matthew Stafford, the quarterback, is playing some good performances, and they're playing at home at SoFi Stadium, and I do see the Rams win here and keeping their playoff chances alive, and I think it's going to be.
Yeah,
interesting.
Did you see the Rams Stadium when you've been to Inglewood?
No, because it hasn't been built back then, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. But I've seen that in that motel we had to stay on your side story because our flight was cancelled. We stayed in a motel close to the airport in Inglewood, and it is really only 1 or 2 blocks away from the SoFi Stadium now. So if it would have been built back then, I would have a great view from the balcony. But I haven't experienced it. But today has been released or announced that the SoFi Stadium will host the 2027 Super Bowl. So maybe this is going to be worth a trip in 4 or 3.5 years' time.
Yeah, and maybe if they improve the area around the stadium a bit to make it safer. So next one, the Bills versus the Cowboys, and I think also an interesting game because of the great names.
Absolutely. This is the top matchup of the weekend. Bills playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys are also one of the hottest teams at the moment. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles last week. They are really playing great football this season, offensively and also defensively. Cowboys, the America's team, either you love them or you hate them. Many people hate them indeed, and they would love to see the Cowboys struggle this season. But this season they are playing really well, and I think they are one of the Super Bowl contenders for sure. And also the Buffalo Bills, they have more of an up and down season this year, but when you look at the roster of the Buffalo Bills, they are a playoff team for sure as well. and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs last week, as I said, in a controversial match, but they were able to beat them and kept their playoff chances alive. And now they are facing the Cowboys at home. And this is going to be a proof game for the Buffalo Bills if it will continue to be an up and down season and they're going to miss the playoffs, or if they now are able to get the momentum going after the win last week against the Chiefs and go into move into the direction of the playoffs. So this is going to be a tough one, but I still see the Cowboys as too strong at the moment. So this is going to be a great match. Really looking forward to watching this. But I see the Cowboys win it. Again, it is in Buffalo, so cold conditions probably coming up. It's an open stadium, so no dome. But still, I think the Cowboys are going to win here.
Very interesting. As I've shown here, the home versus the away stats of both of the teams. It might be a clear home advantage here, as you see 3 out of the last 4 games were winners for the Bills, but always depends on the opponent for sure. But also away, the Cowboys gave away some games against the Eagles, and you can lose at San Francisco. But still not impossible, and we see it in the odds. Very, very interesting and close game, as the Bills are the favorites here at home, and you have to bet 100 to get 105 betting on a Cowboys win, which we should maybe do, and 55% of the people support the Cowboys. But to be honest, there are a lot of tipsters outside who only look at the standings, and if there's Cowboys winning 5 games in a row and on spot 2 in the altogether standings, it should be great odds, no matter how deep you are into football. But interesting one, as you said, that the Bills maybe have some weather and home advantage.
And also Josh Allen is quite famous or infamous this season for throwing a lot of interceptions. And on the other hand, you have the amazing Cowboys defense with the pass rusher Micah Parsons, and also they have Daron Bland, and he had already, I think, 6 pick sixes, meaning catching an interception and bringing this to a touchdown. So I do see another pick six maybe here to even underline the winning probabilities of the Cowboys.
I like. And then last game, it's on Tuesday, and between the Seahawks and the Eagles. What can you tell about these two?
Again, 2 teams that are struggling quite recently, at least. The Eagles have been unbeaten for quite some time, and they have been, I think, 10-1 until 2 weeks ago, and they now lost 2 games in a row. One of them against the Cowboys last week, and the week before they also lost. So they are in a bit of a downswing and some kind of a reality check, because a lot of people, when they were 10-1, said, they are not as strong as the record might indicate. And now reality is hitting them. But they are still a very contending team with a great roster. And on the other hand, the Seahawks, they had a good start into the season, but they are now also on a downswing, even more than the Ravens, because they lost, I think, 4 games in a row. It's the first time under the head coach Pete Carroll that they lost 4 games in a row. So they are really on a downswing. They are playing at home, but I still think the Eagles is the stronger team here, and they are now in that situation where they're gonna win again, and I think the Eagles gonna win it in Seattle.
Yes, and as I said before, you have to look against. They lost with the Cowboys and the 49ers, also 2 great teams, and So they were able to beat almost all other teams, and as you also said before, they might be hot to strike back, and maybe Seahawks are a good opponent for that to achieve. Both birds, by the way, very fun fact.
True.
And so we threw a lot of games, and let's sum up.
I think one game is still missing, Radek. Am I right? I'm missing the Monday night football match, Ravens and Jaguars, but maybe you just don't have it on your list.
You're right, we missed the Sunday night game between the Jaguars and the Ravens because it was printed in round 14, whatever. So, and that's a shame to miss it because two of the top 4 teams are playing against each other here.
Yeah, correct. Jaguars are leading their division, and they seem to be quite strong, but also they faced a reality check quite recently and lost last week. And the Ravens, they were struggling last week against the Rams, but they were still able to win it, which also gave them some confidence, I guess. They are now playing away at Jacksonville, but still the Ravens gonna be, or they will have a more solid performance again. And I see the Ravens winning it here in Jacksonville, and bring some trouble to Florida, and maybe some shakiness. They are still leading the division after that, but still playoff chances might be in danger for the Jaguars after that weekend. But let's see. But for me, I think it's going to be a Ravens win.
Yeah, the record of the Jaguars are 8-5, and as we've seen a lot of closed teams together, they are with the back to the wall if they lose here. And a lot of people think like you that the Ravens should win this game, and now we're through all of these very exciting games, and let's sum up all picks and maybe our best bets of the game day. Okay, we have some winner picks, but we don't bet on every game, only on the most interesting odds, and that's for sure a Raiders win versus the Chargers, the Colts versus the Steelers, the Broncos as underdog versus the Lions, and we place a little bit of money on the Cardinals and hope that they might upset the 49ers, and if they have a good day, maybe at home, why not? And the Cowboys with really good odds against the Bills, and also the Jaguars as underdog versus the Ravens, but at home they might also be the better team here. So that's it for our first NFL pick show. It's almost an hour. Thanks, Phil. I hope it was fun for you as well. Thanks.
Sure thing, it was, and curious to see our results next week.
Oh yeah, let's look forward, and I really enjoy the American football. As Homer Simpson once said, betting makes a sport even better. And so good luck outside and have a good week. Thanks.
Bye, take care.
Before we start, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to this channel that you don't miss any of my picks. Thanks for your support, buddy.